built a custom PCB. It's got no LED screen on there, Pogo pins, did all the acrylic design myself, did all that today, put nice little pad of things on there anyway. So the TinyPICO goes into the test jig. I'm just using, should have done this before. Anyway, I've got some pretty bad cam clamping right now. I need to do something a bit better than this. The Pico is still, has to be connected via USB to the Pi, and then what the Pi does via Python, it does electrical testing on the TinyPICO, does a ground short, then makes sure all the power planes are correct, right voltages, then it does detection of the USB chip, and then if that's all cool, it detects the Pico chip, which is the ESP32 chip, make sure it's the right revision, so they haven't given me the bad revision zeros to save some money because they're faulty. And then once it's done that, it then uses R shell from the Pi to start feeding different lots of MicroPython code onto the TinyPICO, and then talk to it and start running some tests. So test all the GPIO, test them as inputs, test them as outputs, test all the functionality of the board, and then each time it injects some main.py onto the board, it resets the board. So it does a fresh clean boot, does its check, and when that's finished it then injects the next set of code. I'm up to the point now where I'm going to then start testing Wi-Fi. So I'm going to get it to initialize the Pico as TinyPICO as an AP point, and then make sure that the Pi can see it, and then go the other way around, the Pi will be an AP point, make sure the Pico can see it. I don't know how I'm going to test Bluetooth yet, it'll be a bit of a problem. I assume though if the antenna's working and Wi-Fi is working, we can assume Bluetooth's working, right?
Sure.
Maybe. And then, so the whole idea is that when someone on the line in China, I mean, test jigs are not a brand new thing, obviously, but I haven't, haven't invented anything here. But when they put it on, they'll be able to give them instructions on the screen. Hit the green button, it'll do all the tests. At the end, there'll be a red light or a green light. And red light means it's a fail, and there'll be something on the screen that says what it is. They might need an interpreter to understand what it is. Otherwise, green light means the board's good, and so it does all the flashing, erasing, does everything all from the Pi, which is pretty cool. So this might be a really obvious thing for most people, but I've never done anything like this before.
How many units are you gearing up to produce? Like what's the
I don't know. So the board's going to be launching on Crowd Supply.
Yep.
The pre-launch page is pretty much ready to go.
Hundreds or thousands or volume?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, if I could, if we're doing more than a couple of hundred, I'd be happy. It could go 1,000. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? But either way, whatever happens, they need to get produced in China. And the most important thing with producing in China is having test jigs that they can test them on the line. And flash them and test them. And obviously, having to flash them is a more complex thing. Like you can't ask them to go plug it into a computer, load up this program, and do all this stuff. Like it's got to be completely automated. So
how long does it take to go through the whole cycle of all your tests?
So right now it takes about 50 seconds, which is a bit too long. They like it to be under 30.
It's better than I expected, though.
Unfortunately, the amount of time it takes to flash is the longest part right now. So I'm hoping I could maybe squeeze some of the other steps. Right now I'm pausing through a few of the steps so you can actually see what it's doing on the screen. At some point, once I know it's working fine, I can get rid of any of that, and I could probably shave another maybe 5 or 6 seconds off. But it's on the longer end of what they would like on the production line, but I can counter that by giving them 2 or 3 or 4 of them. If they're only producing a couple hundred boards or 500 boards, let's say, if I give them 3 programmers, they can work them pretty quickly.
So you're expecting them to test each board?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Don't want them to send me boards that don't work.
No, but if they tested half of them and they all come up good,
No, they should test every single one.
Probably expect them all to be good.
No, never. No. It's always the ones you don't test that don't work. Always. If it's all social.
I was going to say, does it log that? Like, is it?
So
if not,
that's a tricky one, right? So I want to log, but of course I need to protect the flash, the
SD card.
The SD card, because so I put so there's no on and off switch on the Pi, right? And there's no safe way of shutting a Pi down. So unless you do it by code. So I've put a soft power reset, so the button on the side, if you hold it for 5 seconds, it shuts the Pi down cleanly. Hopefully instructions they'll be given will be don't ever pull the cable out. But if I write protect the flash, then I can't log.
So yeah.
But apparently I was told a couple of days ago that there's a tool that you can get where you can make 2 partitions on the flash and write protect one, the boot one, and have the other one not write protected. And so the idea is, like, I can't rely on using the connectivity on the Pi to log it and send me data because there might not be internet at the factory or, you know, obviously giant firewall. But my plan is to find some way of logging every one against a MAC address. Right? So I'll grab the MAC address of a chip, write the log down, and then at the end I'll get my project manager in China to just send me obviously all of it back, or at least the flash cards back, and I can read them and just go through them all.
I was going to say, 'cause, yeah, that'd be a thing where they're like, oh yeah, we tested them all.
Right.
You could also use a USB stick. You don't want to like just remove that.
I don't want them knowing.
Don't want to know.
I don't want them knowing I'm doing it. I don't want them something that they can then look at and hack or change. Like don't want to give them any ability to, yeah.
Sorry, obvious question. What does the board do?
This is a.
I've got one.
That's okay. So it's an ESP32 development board,
Oh, yeah.
but it's tiny. So it's got an ESP32 on there. It's got not on here right now, but 4 meg of extra PS RAM on the bottom. It's got full battery management option for a JST connector, PH or a microblade fits on there. It's got an APA 102 RGB LED on there, 14 I/O broken out. It's basically the world's smallest ESP32 development board. Super low power, well, minus the RAM, which takes 100 microamps, unfortunately. And you have onboard USB. So it's designed as a prototyping board, really. Fully breadboard compatible. So it's just another ESP32 board out there.
Can I ask what motivated you to make it?
Well, I make stuff like this anyway, but Matt said, hey, bet you can't make the smallest ESP32 development board out there. And I went, no, I don't have time. I said to him, I don't have time. I'm not interested in it. 2 days later, I sent him a business layout, and he goes, and it was 2 millimeters bigger than this, and he goes, wow, that's not bad. I'm sure we can get a smaller. That's what we start with. Yeah. And I've actually got a one called a TinyPICO Nano, which is a third of the size now, which is even smaller. And it's got castellated edges. It's like a module, but it's got full onboard LDO and RAM, extra RAM. So it's a fully standalone microcontroller board that's 14 mil by 14 by 12 mil in size. And it's fully standalone, but you can also solder it onto a board and use it as the brains for other projects. But launching this first, because if this tanks, I'm not going to make the other one. But if this does okay, I'll do another crowd supply campaign with that one as well. But yeah, did it for the challenge and for the learning. It's been a bitch of a project.
What's the target price you sort of got in mind?
It's going to be $20 US. I'm not trying to compete with China. But yeah, like I'll work out some type of multi-order discounts or something. I don't know how it's going to work yet. You know, buy 2 at this price, buy 4 at this price. I don't know. I'll get guided by crowd supply on that. I've never done a crowd supply campaign before, but they're really keen. And do you have the black one? I had them. They were all in black, black with e-nick.
Where's the little box?
No, don't worry. It was in your little case. But, anyway, I got some faulty boards. Anyway, so I'm back to green and e-nick, unfortunately. So these ones don't have e-nick on it, but yeah.
That was kind of an interesting learning experience though, with the sort of black and gold.
Yeah, I got my black boards made and found out after they sent them to me that there's some registration issues on there, but there's a limitation on what they can do with non-green solder mask in terms of how tight they can get it, how much gap they need for ridges around the mask. So yeah, so the boards came and they were pretty crap and useless, unfortunately. So I've gone back to green. But there are PCB manufacturers out there that can do what I need, but obviously I'm going for the cheap people at the moment. You get what you pay for. In this case, it was bad.
Was that guy over here,
JLC PSP, yeah. I do a lot of stuff with them, and I've had a few issues with them. With their quality control is pretty bad. Their customer service is fantastic, though. If you've got a problem, they'll give you your money back straight away. No questions asked. They'll read it in for you, whatever.
Okay.
But you'd want to catch it earlier than that. In this particular case, their engineers didn't catch that it was out of spec, and it was out of spec. They looked at the Gerbers afterwards and go, oh yeah, hang on, we can't do this. Well, hello. And I mean, they charged me a $20 engineering fee to penalise my boards. You'd think the person who was doing it looked at it and going, oh, you can't do that. And then at the other end, when they were testing it, like no one looked at it, obviously, before they shipped it out. Like the registration for the solder mask was like out, like a massive amount. It was just really, really ugly boards. So, but you can't beat them on price.
Clearly.
So you get what you pay for.
Clearly, you could use it for
Right.
for anything.
But all the green stuff's great. Like, you know, all the green boards, no problem. They obviously got, you know, they can do better quality on their green, that they've run 1,000 times more green solder mask stuff, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. And because I'm hand assembling them, my ability to place like the QFN chips exactly on pads. You know, if they're out a tiny little bit, you get shorts. So it's part my skill and part, yeah, like me relying on the solder mask means that I don't have to be as accurate, and the chip will just move into place when it's reflowing. But without the solder mask there, it doesn't. So yeah, but this has been a great journey because now I'm really enjoying MicroPython. I was really intimidated by it, to be honest with you. I know quite a lot of different languages, and I don't know why, but Python just has never been on my radar. It's just another thing to learn, and I just didn't want to do it. And the whole thought of MicroPython, I just didn't want to. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really easy to read, and it's quite easy to write, and it makes sense. And yeah, and I hate any time I have to spend in Arduino land now. I hate it, but I have to do it. So, but I hate it. So I'm really enjoying it. Python's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Sean.